Hello and welcome to the show. Now, I am quite a big fan of the TVR Sagaris. It is a completely and utterly balmy car, but I do quite like it. And it does tend to be very, very fast up until the point where it tries and murders you, and it's often very successful at that part. However, it was very fast when we did the rally car build in Horizon 2. Admittedly, that was at a very, very different track, a very different PI system on that game. So, whether this is going to be fast when it comes to Horizon 3, I have no idea. And whether I can keep it on the side of very, very fast, as opposed to the side on murdering me, that could also play a big part. Now, the car does start off as a relatively low S1 class. We are going to convert it to all-wheel drive. It will make the car a little bit heavier, perhaps not the biggest jump in PI we've seen from any vehicle. We are also going to, of course, put it on some nice off-road tyres, which doesn't give us a massive amount of PI to play around with. I am going to want these. I want grip in my TVR, although I do want power as well. We're going to have some lovely downforce on the car, because, yeah, we want the stability. We've seen cars with good stability go pretty damn fast down this course, so we want that in the TVR. Now, I am curious, engine-wise, we are going to keep the standard engine in this car. We can, okay, that is quite interesting. We can get the 5.2 litre V10 in the car. Now, that gives us 602 horsepower, still all within S1 class. That's quite promising for me in terms of building this vehicle. We could give the standard engine a turbocharger. We will come back to that at a later date. We're going to... Oopsie, not going to want quite that. We're going to want brakes. We're going to want brakes, most definitely. We're also going to want race suspension. We're going to want the anti-roll bars. We're not going for weight reduction on this car. Not that it could take off a huge amount of weight. By the time we've added on the roll cage up to 2,600 pounds, this could take it down to as little as 2,300. I'm going to go for power, though. That's going to be the more important thing here, I suspect. So let's start off with the exhaust. Let's actually see. I don't know how much power the standard TVR engine can get in here. Looking at it, it's not going to be it's not going to be as much in this engine as we could get out of the V10. Which is perhaps a little bit of a shame. But I'm assuming there are other characteristics of this engine that are favourable. We will keep it naturally aspirated, seeing as the way that this PI is going up. Yeah, we'll keep the engine naturally aspirated. Probably one of the few cars, actually, that has gone down here. I'm thinking of the BAC Mono. Perhaps the only other one that has run down here with a naturally aspirated engine. I can't remember. I can't remember every single car that's gone, but it could well be. What is it? It's 0 to 60 in 2.6 seconds. That is very, very quick. 0 to 60 time for anything, let's face it. Sure, you know what? We'll stick these on. We'll see. Okay, we can't get that in. We may possibly sneak... Nope. We're not going to sneak that in. We'll go for a diff. Let's have a look just at flywheel. You never know if you can. Nope. You never know if you can. In this case, we can't. That might work. It does give us more power, more torque. There's a fair bit more weight, but if we do that, has it? Yes, it has. Because of the way the PI system works, there's sort of the little decimal point that you don't see displayed on screen. So we could then get flywheel on. We're probably not going to get anything else on. No. So we added some power and a bit of weight, and then we took off some of the weight through flywheel. We got more power and torque, so I'm happy with that. 560 horsepower in the Sagaris. An okay amount of torque, not the greatest amount of torque, but not too bad, and it is relatively light. We should shoot off the start line like a rocket, but how this is going to handle when it gets on the dirt is, yeah, questionable. We will have to find out, though. Well, we have brought our potentially murderous TVR to the reservoir trail. It is going to get 3 runs through this course in an attempt to go faster than the Ford Woody. Yes, I am saying that. The Woody 229.8 is the fastest time ever down this stage. I think the Sagaris may struggle to get near that. I have been wrong about cars before, however that is a mighty tough time. Where we are more likely to see this car challenge, well, if it's good across the dirt, Might go near the Evo 6, the Lancia 037, the Silvia S14, that sort of area on the table, if it can carry its speed across the dirt nicely, but that is a very much unknown with this car. As you would imagine, on the tarmac sections, it's glorious. It's very nice through that turn 1 and turn 2. We can get the car stopped well into turn 3 here and put the power down nicely. There is plenty of grip in the Sagaris. We've just got to try and carry as much momentum as we possibly can through these corners and hope that we survive these bumps. How are we going to fare, Sagaris? We're going to be murdery, or are we going to be pretty well behaved? Actually, that's not bad going. From the TVR, that's very well behaved actually across those vicious bumps. Now we are going to be flat out down here. What sort of speed? Yeah, we're carrying decent speed, and that was even with a little bit of a wobble on the way through the corner. It's nice and stable, this car. It does, again, much like we have seen with some of these slightly less crazy, powerful cars, fill you with a bit more confidence to attack the corners. I'm not massively worried when we go to approach a corner and we turn in. That is one area that I thought we might struggle with, and indeed we do. Sagaris is not a fan of the water. I'm guessing the splitter, it's just too low. It's just too low to the ground. It just catches on the water and drags, and it's very slow punching through that. We lose a lot of momentum in that section, which is less than ideal, but thankfully we only have a couple of water sections around this stage. What are we going to have to take a wide line, I think, into here. Now, the car has got the grip to really be able for me to place it where I want it to, and yeah, that's not too bad. We kind of slide our way through that, It's not a conventional sliding our way through that water, but it gets the job done, and the Sagaris is proving to be pretty nice, although that, I'm pretty sure, was the splitter smacking the ground as we took the first of the jumps. It is pretty well behaved. All things considered, this is very well behaved across these jumps, although it is a little bit crashy. Or I say crashy on the landing, as in we're smacking the front of the car up no end on these landings. I'm pretty sure the splitter would not be in one piece. It would be very split by the end of this. Around the final corner we go. It was a 2:35.0, I believe, on that run through the course. A solid opening run from the Sagaris. Yeah, a nice car to drive. Not sure if we can find a huge amount more time, but I'm going to give it a go. So it is on to the second run with the Sagaris, and the TVR's normal instinct to murder you does not seem to be, well, present with this one. It's quite tame, in all honesty. It's very, very fast and very grippy through these opening corners. Again, not quite up there with the RS2, but it's not that far off. And yeah, lovely car to drive through these tarmac corners to begin with. And then we get on the dirt, and it's still not trying to kill me at any point. It is very, very un-TVR. If anything, this is perhaps one of the more docile cars I've had to drive in general. Perhaps the Evo 6 is the only one that was yeah, even safer down here, come to think of it, because it's just, yeah, it sticks to the road and is pretty damn comfortable across these bumps. You know, I'm flat out around that turn, and the car is perfectly comfortable to do it. We've got a little bit of a twist on that landing. We're again going to carry good speed, lots of speed actually, on the way up here. I think one of the places where we struggle with this car is some of these heavy landings. It really feels like it is losing a heap of time on them, because it feels like we're sort of smacking the front of the car, we're digging into the ground on a lot of these landings, and that's costing us some valuable momentum. As is the water, it is not much fun through there. I think we've had a little bit of a smoother opening half of the course. That's a little bit tailed down, but thankfully those trees are destructible, so if we end up out of position, we can get away with that. Around the next corners we go. Yeah, this is a very un-TVR-esque like performance from the Sagaris through the water. Yeah, actually it's not too bad through that puddle. I'm surprised. The jump splash that we go through, it is not a fan of at all. We're losing stacks of speed through there, but on that corner we can kind of get away with it, and surprisingly that bump that's caught out so many cars, the Sagaris is really quite good over. And down here even, it's 143 miles an hour on the takeoff of the first part. We're a little bit bounced around. Oh, that's not an indestructible tree. Bugger, of all the trees that should be indestructible, I feel like that one should be. On there, we were just too far, like a couple of millimeters too far to the left there. That was my bad for positioning the car. Oh, we smacked up the front of the TVR. Yeah, that wasn't the car really having issues. That was just a little bit of poor manoeuvring from me. Otherwise, I think we were on for a quicker, fairly good run that time out. I am quite surprised, I'll be honest, by this Sagaris. So it is on to the final run with the less murdery TVR Sagaris. Although trees are the real danger on it. Got to keep the car out of the foliage. Never conducive for a rally car's stage time. It's so nice through these tarmac corners. It is so nice to have this level of grip and confidence in the car. You really can get on the throttle very, very early. There's still limits to what the Sagaris is capable of doing. A little bit early on the brakes, although we will then take a slightly tighter line through turn 3. I'm astounded by how well this car is dealing with the bumps. You know, Sagaris never intended to go off-road. And it is handling the bumps. Let's see how we do across there, as well as the Evo 6 that time around. That was absolutely spot on across that section. And that's, to me, that's incredible, that this car is doing that well. I've had so many issues with even more appropriate rally cars having problems across bumps like that. Now, these heavy landings, not quite so friendly on the Sagaris there. They do give it a few more issues, and I think that's just the really, really low ride height on this car. It's got rally suspension on it, but it's still low in comparison, and we really struggle through that puddle. It just can't punch its way out the other side as well as some of the other vehicles. Now we come up towards the next jump. This one here we tend to fly a little bit back down, and that's slightly better. For the Sagaris, we don't sort of clonk the splitter into the floor. It's great fun chucking this car through these corners, though. It's so... you can just put it exactly where you want it, time and time again. It's so responsive, and it'll do whatever it is that you are asking it to. And it's not even... we're not getting the neutral steer even when we're throwing it through the puddle like that we've seen a lot of cars do at that section. When you kind of attack the water at that angle, you just... well, as you hit the water, there's less grip there, and you just get flung out towards the wall, and the TVR is having none of it. The TVR is just through that section, completely and utterly unhindered, and we're flat out down here. The bumpiest section on the track that has caught out numerous cars, and the TVR is absolutely fine. We throw it into the penultimate corner. Up towards the final turn we go. Try and not get that bit of oversteer. We run towards the line. That was fast. That was very fast on that final run. 232.6 from the Sagaris. Perhaps, yeah, one of the more inappropriate vehicles that I've taken down this course. Such a low-slung sports car and such a notorious murder machine. The Sagaris, however, that is a damn good car. That handles the bumps so well. For something like this, to drive that well across those bumps is mighty, mighty impressive. The 232.6 will put the car into 8th place. It goes faster than the Hemi Cuda. It beats the Impreza 22B, the Silvia S14, and the Lancia 037. Does lose out to the Tesla Model S and the Evo 6. The Evo 6, out of the two cars, I think they're a little bit better to drive, simply because of the very, very big jumps. The Evo 6 lands slightly better. I think the splitter on the TVR can catch the floor a little bit. We did very well on that final run with the Sagaris not to get it caught, but I think it can catch at times, whereas the Evo 6, you're not going to have that problem. I would still say the Evo 6, perhaps the nicest of the cars to drive. However, that Sagaris is a hell of a good vehicle. That is right up there. So, a mighty fine showing from the normally crazy TVR. In this case, actually quite a good rally car. However, that is going to be it from me. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.